Can you dig it, Coach?
I can totally dig that we're back.
We are back, baby.
How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to Windy City Digits. It's been a while, friends.
It's been a couple months.
In a couple months since we've been able to get together and talk sports. Actually, it's not just on YouTube. Vic and I haven't had much of a chance to hang out and talk. Life has kind of caught up with both of us with things that are going on. But thankfully, we're both back and better than ever. Ready to talk Chicago sports with you guys. Thanks again for tuning in. We do appreciate everyone here that's checking us out today. So Vic, there's a lot, we'll eventually get to the football season's over and the Bears, they're now officially on the clock. We'll eventually get to them. Baseball's coming up soon. We'll have some preview episodes about that. But today we kind of want to focus on the Bulls. All-Star weekend just ended. Actually, All-Star weekend is going to end today. The All-Star game is going to be later tonight at the time of this recording. DeMar DeRozan is the only Bulls representative, but it's been kind of, I guess for lack of a better term, disappointing first half of the season, right? No Lonzo Ball in sight. It sounds like they may shut him down for the season. That's going to be a year and a half without Lonzo. But, there's only like 20 games left. They're in 11th place. Let's not focus on, what's already in the first half. It is what it is there, but let's focus on the second half. Like, what are your thoughts right now on the second half?
I have very little hope. How about that?
I would agree with that.
Is that good analysis?
There's really not a whole lot to say, right? I mean, it's easy to pick out fault, right? Like maybe we should have made it the trade deadline. What the heck is going on with Lonzo? What's going on with Zach? What's going on with DeMar? The inconsistent play. Io seems to have had a sophomore slump, not playing as consistently as well as we hopeful. Dalen Terry seems to be buried on the bench. You can kind of go in multiple directions, but just kind of like, what do you think? What are your, I guess, since there's no hope, like, what are your thoughts, maybe expectations where we do finish in the second half?
You know what? I think their only hope really is the buyout market to see who comes up. Kevin Love getting signed by the Miami Heat. Sounds like Russell Westbrook won't be going to Miami, so it's going to be the Clippers, Wizards, or Bulls. If I were him and I was smart, I'd be signing with the Clippers.
Yeah, you wouldn't be signing with the Bulls because you want to win.
Well, not only do you want to win, but you want to go to a situation where, I don't know, you're going to have some shooters. The Bulls have no outside shooters. So besides not having a point guard, the Bulls' 3-point field goal percentage is pathetic. So they're missing two big key ingredients on their team: 3-point shooting and a point guard. So Russell Westbrook isn't going to fix it, but do you think he helps?
No.
At all.
No, I mean, like, look, for 20 games, is he going to win us a couple? Is he going to make a difference in a game or two? Probably. Especially if DeMar isn't 100% right now, right? I mean, it's definitely going to help, and I don't know what the deal is with Dragic. I know he's been in street clothes the last couple of games, but I'm not sure what his deal is and why he's not playing, right?
They've got a lot of injuries too. I mean, granted they've played terribly the last 6 games.
Well, look, part of that is I don't know if it's terrible, but it's like they have the lead. Like they have big leads in these games.
20+ point leads this year.
Yeah, like they're getting double-digit leads, like 10, 15, 18, 20 points. So it's not like not like the final score indicates like they're getting blown out the entire game. They're actually winning in these games. These are games that they should have won.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, earlier in the season, I mean, it's the role reversal for the Bulls have switched from last year to this year. They were beating better teams. Granted, those teams had some missing players, but lately it's just been terrible. And right after the trade deadline, and I was going to get your thoughts on this. Right after the trade deadline, do you think some of the Bulls players were hoping they would get traded to a competitor, and they kind of got disappointed, and that's where their head's at?
No, I don't think so. I think I think inside that locker room, from what I like what I'm hearing is like they seem to be pretty united. Like they seem to know, like, look, we're winning these games.
Mm-hmm.
We can play well. You know, it seems to be like right now, like it seems to be, and last year you called me a Zach hater for this. It seems to be Zach. Like, look, these last couple of games without DeMar kind of
Mm-hmm.
prove that Zach's not a closer.
Oh, he
Like,
is not.
he's not.
He is not.
He makes terrible decisions with the ball. He passes the ball when he shoots it. He shoots the ball when he should pass it. Um, and the kind of murmurings around the team is that everyone seems to be behind Billy. Like everyone seems to be like, Billy knows what he's doing. Like Billy knows how to coach. Like he puts us in positions to win, which is
Mm-hmm.
true because he's giving them leads. They're in the lead, right? Um, but they can't close these games. And it's DeMar's been hurt, which is proven because he's had a couple turnovers. He's been hurt right before
Yeah,
he sat out and
yeah.
wasn't playing himself.
You could definitely see he was not playing well.
Right. But this was Zach's moment. Like this was Zach's time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And is he scoring 30, 25, 28, 30 points a game? Yes. But it's not
Yes.
going to matter if we're not winning these games.
No, he cannot. I mean, I was looking for a stat on Twitter. I saw a stat for Zach LaVine in game winning field goals or end of the game field goals. He was like 5 for 40 or something like that. It was horrific.
Yeah, the other night,
You're,
whatever
yeah,
was the other night, that last game we played against the Bucks,
he
he was
airballed
awful.
it. Did you see that airball?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was terrible.
I mean, it's not like we're DeMar goes to the same spot in the fourth quarter every time. He starts at the top of the key, he's under control, he dribbles to that elbow or to that free throw line, makes a couple moves, everybody falls for the shot fake, he either gets fouled. But it's a good shot. It's a decent shot, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's under control. Zach looks like he's just dribbling. It almost looks like my eighth grade basketball team. Like he's out there dribbling the ball. We're all yelling at the guy, pass the ball, right? And he puts up a
Mm-hmm.
terrible shot. And then he's getting mad at everybody else. Like someone didn't set a screen, someone didn't do this. Um, and that's how we blow these fourth quarter leads.
So I'm gonna share one tweet with you about Zach. That just kind of goes to that point. From Daniel Greenberg. I want to make this a little larger here.
Yeah,
Look at that.
there you go. Zach's field goal percentage, free throw percentage, assists this game are lowest it's been since the 2019-2020 season. So that's only like in the last 4 years, right? And that when
Yeah,
that team was terrible,
it was. I
right?
mean, granted, also Zach in the first half this year was not himself either. He has he has shot better for like 3 quarters of the game, but he is terrible. It's almost like give me Zach the first 3 quarters of a game, give me DeMar the fourth quarter. Like learn to know your place in that end of the game. But then DeMar, what's part of the problem is DeMar ends up stalling our offense too in that fourth quarter. Yes, he makes a lot of shots, but then we become static. We don't move the ball as much. So I think that's somewhat of a problem as well. They're not a well constructed team without Lonzo Ball.
Well, that's been the formula, right? Toward the end of last year. I mean, I saw the other day, like right before the All Star break. A year ago at the All Star break, the Bulls were the number one seed in the Eastern Conference. Right now, we're the
Yep.
11th, right, and with pretty much the same team. Um, with the exception of maybe like, okay, we added Dalen Terry, um, we added Drummond, we added Dragic, we lost Troy Brown Jr., who seems to be lighting up the world with the Lakers. Seems to have found a shot with the Lakers.
All of a
Um,
sudden. Yeah.
yeah, you know. So I don't know. I guess the bigger thing right now is, he's got 4 years left after this year on that max contract. I mean, that's a 5-year max contract, right? I mean, everyone talks about tanking and just finish outside the playoffs, go for the lottery, and get yourself a draft pick. No draft pick coming in is going to help this team.
No,
You're
none.
gonna have to make a decision on Zach, and you're gonna have to make a decision: is this the guy you want to build around, or do you want to pick someone else up and build around that type player?
Yeah. So do you see the Bulls getting into the playing game?
I'd have to look at the rest of the schedule, to be honest. I don't know what the rest of the schedule looks like. I'd have to look at that, but my guess right now is that they'll finish it within that 8 to 11, right? Is it 12 teams
Mhm.
that make it, right? 9 to 12, somewhere around there. They'll finish in that range. I'm almost positive about that.
They are. It's the top 10. So 7, 8, 9, 10 are in the play-in.
I think they'll finish in that plane, especially since the East traded away so many assets. You know,
Yeah, they're. I mean, they're 2 games back of Toronto and Washington. Only 3 from Atlanta.
the one thing I like,
Um,
here's the other thing I would say right now is like, look, some of these other teams, like, give some mad props to Brooklyn and Joe Tsai, the owner of Brooklyn. Like,
right?
he traded away Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant, and he still got a pretty decent team.
They're
Like, the
playing
players
hard,
he
man.
got back,
Yeah.
are pretty decent. They're gonna win you games, and those are teams that you can build around.
That's what I wanted the Bulls to do. Something like that. Something
Yeah.
to the effect that Brooklyn did. I think that's what was needed. And well, now we're stuck with a mediocre team, and hopefully we sign somebody, drop someone in order to be a little bit more competitive because I don't see it happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the Bulls, they're the second most attended
Team.
home attendance in the NBA.
Right.
So what does that tell you too? I mean, are the Bulls, are they urgent to compete when the fans are, flocking the stadium?
That tells me that I don't know if some of this, and we tried to do a video on this. Unfortunately, the video didn't work, right? But um, that tells me that some of this is not on Karnisovis and Eversley. That tells me that Reinsdorf is back to his old tricks, to where he's making the money. He doesn't want to spend anymore. He said, "Look, I gave you Zach in your max contract. That's what you wanted. I let you spend your money there,
That is
and
not the
so
player you are looking for.
right." And so he's like, "Look, we're not going to spend any more money this year. We're not going to, we're not going to do any of that stuff." Um, and then just have to wait until next year and see what happens. The other part of that is that that's the strange thing about that, is because the way the NBA works is like, if I trade away Zach's contract, I have to take the same money back. So it's not like you're going to win or lose from that perspective. The only thing you might gain out of that is like, okay, I got to take on these contracts for the next couple of years, but you know, that's fine. But these are players you could take on expiring contracts, whatever the case is, and then you can trade away and then you get draft picks, whatever the case is, right? Um, but that tells me that that's kind of Reinsdorf back to his old tricks.
So Carl thinks the Bulls are going to make the play-in. I think they're going to miss it, and then they're going to have some hard decisions about whether they keep Vooch, um, or do they start reconstructing their team, not signing him, and making some off-season trades.
I'm looking at the schedule now.
I still think they have one of the easier schedules in the NBA.
Well, look, I'm looking at the schedule right now. Like, they come
But
right
that
out of the
does
chute.
not bode well for the Bulls this year.
Let me share this screen really quick so that we can go over this with everyone here. Let's
Let's do that.
see.
Let's do that, Coach. By the way, I'm hungry. I could use some wings. Some
Hey,
Chiefs
actually, Dave,
wings.
we're gonna go. All right, so let's see here. All right,
Uh,
so right out of the chute, we start with Brooklyn, right? That's at home, and then we play the Wizards. So the Wizards game, I'd say that's one possible win. Raptors away, I'm not confident in that. Detroit, that's two possible wins.
yeah.
Phoenix, no way. Indiana, we keep getting screwed in Indiana. Can't play that team, right? Denver, that's probably a loss.
We
Rockets,
don't play.
probably a win.
We
That's
don't play
three.
always well against them either.
Yeah. Kings are playing great.
They are.
Minnesota's playing great. Miami, we seem to play well against. So I'll put that as a half. So 3.5 wins right now. We can't beat Embiid and back to back. That's going to be crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Portland away. That's going to be a tough game. I think we're going to lose that one. Lakers away.
They I don't know. I think they're refreshed, man.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to win that way. I don't think we're going to win the Clippers. I don't think we're going to beat the Lakers here.
It's not looking pretty.
4 wins right there. We're not beating the Grizzlies. We're not beating the Hawks. We're not beating the Bucks. We're not beating them. So 5 wins out of the remaining games. So I'm going to change my answer. No, we're not going to make the playoffs.
We're not making the playoffs, and we have some hard decisions over the offseason.
Yeah, I think that's
Right.
I don't know what you're going to do, right? And I think the biggest thing that you're going to have to address is Zach. And I think if you get the Zach situation addressed and maybe move Zach, then I think the whole climate of this team changes. Personally,
I think you're right.
So we'll have to see.
It's the first time we might have agreed with the decision with Zach.
So we'd love to hear what you guys think about the Bulls in the second half. We'd love to hear your thoughts on Zach. Where you guys think they're going to finish in the second half, if we think we're going to make the playoffs or not. Do we blow the thing up? Whatever. Let's hear your comments below.
Boom.
Thanks again for tuning in. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us, for being patient for the last 2 months. But hopefully we're back now on a weekly basis. So we will see you guys in the next video. And it's been a while since we've said this, but peace,
love,
and digits.
Bam.